What's going on, guys? Matthew Muniz here. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to talk about one of my favorite things, investments. Except we're not actually going to talk about stocks or crypto or anything like that. We're not going to talk about tax advantage accounts, but we are going to talk about is how you can invest in something for your children or even for yourself. It applies to both. We're actually going to talk about investing in tools. Now, before you shut off the video, because we're not talking about meme stocks or Bitcoin, just hear me out. This weekend alone, my wife and I, we spent about 3 hours of work and we saved 500 bucks. Now, if you're a millionaire, that's not a ton of money. I get it. However, if you're an average family making an average salary, maybe middle income, 500 bucks can be very, very useful. You can do a lot with 500 bucks. In the past 10 years, I've probably saved tens of thousands of dollars. Now, when we look at my parents, they've saved hundreds of thousands of dollars. So in this video, we're going to talk about how you can set up your kids or even yourself for success at a young age by investing in tools for them. Now, this goes back to a story that I love to tell to pretty much everybody just because it cracks me up nowadays. But basically, when I was younger, 5, 6, 7, I'd be with my friends. We'd be talking about, oh, what'd you get for Christmas? Or what'd you get for your birthday? And they'd be like, oh, I got a cool Spider-Man, or I got a new video game or something. And I'd be like, oh, I got an adjustable wrench or a hammer, So as a kid, I'd always be like, man, all my friends have these cool action figures and I'm over here with the chainsaw that I can't use for the next 10 years. But when I finally grew up, got my first car, my first motorcycle, bought my first house, all those things, all those tools that I had acquired from countless Christmases and birthdays, all of a sudden I was ready to go. Man, it was awesome. We've saved tons of money just in the past year on this house. Now, I don't believe in doing all jobs yourself. That's not what I'm trying to say. All I'm trying to say is everybody should have at least some tools. You could start really small, and then you could build on what you have. Remember, nowadays we have virtual tools like YouTube that are free to use that people have already posted content on how to do something that you're trying to do. So an example of this is over the weekend, my wife and I, we did brakes on her car. We did brakes and rotors on her 2017 Mazda 3. The dealership wanted to charge us a little bit less than $700. However, I was able to buy all the parts on sale from Advanced Auto Parts for $183. Technically, I had to buy a tool that was specific to Mazda for an extra 25 bucks as well. So we saved almost $500. At the end of this video, I'm gonna show you some bloopers and some footage from that specific job, and I'll talk a little bit about that job. So you may be wondering, how are tools gonna help me? Or how can they help my family? Well, if you could do really small jobs, if we're talking about a car, for instance, just your brakes, now you may think, oh, that's really complex. I don't wanna touch it. Well, you actually don't need that many tools. And it's very easy. To do brakes, all you need to do is take the lug nuts off of your rim, pull off the tire, and then you already have access to a brake caliper. And usually there's 2 or 4 bolts that you're gonna have to take off. And then you pull out the pads and put in the new ones. You put it back and you're done. Really, really easy. Crazy how easy it is. So now you're probably wondering, well, what's the strategy? Well, what my parents did, so for the holidays or for my birthdays, they would be shopping around. So anytime they went to their hardware store or Home Depot or something like that, they'd be looking for a sale, anything on clearance. If there was a certain tool set on clearance, they'd pick that up. They would use their credit card to get their cash back points or their travel points so they can go on vacation. They did that, never paid full price, and 10 years later, I have thousands of tools. It's crazy. I'm gonna do the exact same thing for my kids. I only have a daughter right now, and I'm gonna start getting her a couple tools here or there. Now, I'm not gonna get her anything crazy, but it's always good, doesn't matter if you're male, female, how old you are, to have your own tool set. Maybe your light went out and you gotta replace the light bulb. Maybe you have a leak in your basement and you gotta look at that. There's all sorts of things that might pop up that you might be able to address on your own. You're not gonna be able to do everything, and you're gonna have to understand that. But if you do your research, you can do a lot of things and save yourself a lot of money. So all in all, one thing I like to think about is anytime I could do a job myself, I save almost 50% when I don't have to pay for labor. Now my time is involved, yes, but I'm still saving that money and I can use that somewhere else. So that's why I like to do those things. So when it comes to investing in tools, you'll find that they last an extremely long time. They don't lose their value. And a lot of them even have lifetime warranties. You got your Snap tools, your Craftsman, all sorts of stuff like that. I've never personally broken a tool. I don't really understand how you do, but I also don't do tons of work. I'm not a mechanic or anything like that. But if I ever decide to just start smashing my tools on stuff and they break, shouldn't be that hard to go get them replaced free of charge. And real quick, before we go into the bloopers, another thing that I saved money on recently was we did a concrete patio outside of my barn, so around my gym. That job, we did save over 50%. We saved several $1,000s by doing the majority of the work ourselves. Now, we still did hire contractors and stuff to do the challenging aspects, but some of the other stuff that I could do, I decided to do so I could save some money. We'll actually talk about that. We're gonna do a Barn and Gains update in the future, but for now, we're gonna go into the bloopers. So if you wanna see my wife making some funny faces and just being silly like she always is, please smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let me know down below if you've ever done any jobs on your own. And also, let me know what problems you came across, because 9 out of 10 times, whatever I think is gonna work, something ends up going wrong and it ends up being a headache. But in the end, it all ends up working out, so it's okay. So I hope you guys enjoy the end of this video.
Yo, welcome to this week's video. We're here in the barn. Look at that tractor.
No, don't show off my dad's stuff.
Oh.
He doesn't like that stuff.
Okay, there's Damien. Okay. Here we are.
Okay, so we're in my dad's barn right now, and we are working on my wife's car. She has a 2017 Boston 3. We need to get brakes and rotors done for the rear, and then we need to do brakes to the front. Now, if you go to the dealership is always going to tell you to get new rotors when you get new brakes. Not necessarily true. So there's actually a tool you can use to figure out if you do need to replace your rotors. And we ended up needing to only do our rears. So we got all those parts online. Everything was shipped to us before we came here. And now, as you can see, yes, we have a lift, and it makes it a lot easier. However, not everyone has the space for a lift. So you can just have a small jack tool, which will cost you maybe $100, a couple $100 at something like Home Depot. And even if you don't have this, in the back of every car, or at least I think every car, there is an emergency roadside kit that has some type of temporary jack. So you can lift up your car using that tool, and then you can do the brake. So we just took off the old brakes. They are pretty wrecked. We replaced them with some brand new beefy ones, and I'm gonna put the caliper back on, put the tire back on, and the whole job is probably around 3 hours. So it did take about 3 hours of my time and my father's time, but it is family time.
Good quality time.
Yes, exactly. It's quality time with your family. It's a lot of fun, and yeah. So I just wanted to show you guys exactly what we're doing and what we're dealing with. Tip.
Oh, you get right on the edge.
Okay.
Just the tip? You gotta take that out of the video.